The void shimmered as the massive Jarix armada slipped out of the swirling cobalt mists of the Perseus Rift. Hundreds of warships, their black hulls etched with crimson sigils, formed a colossal spearhead pointing directly at Sol, the heart of a small backwater system that had long been ignored by the galactic powers. Yet here they were, their arrival a declaration. Earth was about to be claimed. Admiral Threx stood on the bridge of the flagship Doombreaker, his compound eyes flicking. Over the star map projected before him, the sprawling blue orb of Earth rotated slowly in the distance, bathed in the golden light of Sol. For all its serene beauty, Earth was a ticking time bomb. Its location at the crossroads of several star lanes made it strategically vital. The Council had decided years ago it must be brought under Imperial control. But something was strange. Despite the Armada's unmistakable presence, Earth's response was silence. No transmissions, no hostile engagements, no fleets scrambled to intercept. Just silence. Threx's mandibles clicked nervously. Admiral, repeated communication attempts have gone unanswered. They are neither responding to our hails nor launching any defensive actions. This is unprecedented. Perhaps they're simply weak, muttered Captain Evel, his tone dripping with contempt. An insignificant world with no means of defense. Or cunning, Threx countered, voice. Though, no species with that kind of silence is defenseless. This is deliberate. On Earth, the truth was far more complicated. In the deep underground chambers beneath the sprawling cities of the new United Earth Federation, a quiet hum filled the control room. Screens displayed streams of data as humanity's finest minds monitored the distant fleet. Commander Aisha Malik stood before a curved console, her fingers flying over holographic controls. They're here, she said softly, all according to plan. The Solar Gate Defense Net, a vast, secret installation encircling the sun, was coming online. Concealed in asteroid belts, cloaked satellites, and deep space outposts, it was the culmination of decades of breakthroughs in physics and AI. Earth had never rushed to join the galactic community. Instead, it had built walls invisible to the Empire's sensors. Status report, Aisha ordered. Gravitic field projectors at 95% efficiency. Kinetic disruptors armed and ready, replied the AI interface, voice smooth and unyielding. No signs of active enemy engagement yet. Outside, the Doombreaker and its fleet began advancing through the dense asteroid corridors, their sensors sweeping for weakness. What they found instead was the first sign of Earth's silent defiance, a sharp pulse in the gravitic spectrum that disrupted their warp drives. Suddenly, the Empire's vanguard ship Vorath screamed to a halt, caught in an invisible snare. Its engines overloaded, and with a flash it was torn apart, shards scattering into the void. The bridge erupted in chaos. Shields! Report! Threx shouted. Captain Evil's eyes widened. It's not just shields. Their technology, it's manipulating spacetime itself. Aisha watched remotely as the fleet faltered, their carefully coordinated advance reduced to panic. Humanity's defenses were more than just weapons. They were a fortress built of physics the Empire had never encountered. Open a channel, Threx demanded, voice strained but commanding. The Doombreaker sent out a broadcast, Imperial tones crackling across the void. This is Admiral Threx of the Jarix Empire. Earth, you are ordered to cease all resistance and submit to Imperial authority. Failure to comply will result in annihilation. The reply came, cold, calm, and unyielding. Not a fleet, not a battle cry, but a simple, clear message. You are not welcome. Your empire ends here. The silence returned, heavier than before. Back on Earth, Aisha allowed herself a small smile. The world's fate had changed. Not by armies or conquest, but by a silent, unbreakable wall. Humanity's quiet message to a galaxy that had never seen it coming. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the ancient Galactic Empire began to realize that Earth was not just a planet. It was a force of nature. The Jarix fleet hung in the void like a dark storm cloud, waiting, watching, desperate to understand the invisible wall hemming them in. The Doombreaker's sensors flared repeatedly with strange energy readings, gravitational, Distortions, quantum fluctuations, things that no imperial science could explain. Admiral Threx paced his bridge, every movement sharp, his many eyes narrowing as he studied the slowly intensifying energy field projected around Sol. "Activate the probe drones," he ordered. "Send every sensor, every eye, we will find their weakness." Outside, sleek black drones slipped silently into the solar gate defense net. At first, the drones recorded only static, then signals that bent and twisted physics like water under a stone. Suddenly, the frontline flagship Vorath's Vengeance surged forward, intent on breaking the barrier by brute force. Massive energy beams blasted at the shimmering shield, but the solar gate only rippled, absorbing the assault with barely a tremor. And then, the unimaginable happened. A wave of blue-white light flashed across the defense net like a rising tide. The Vorath's Vengeance shuddered violently, its engines caught in a temporal distortion that folded space around the ship. In seconds, the vessel blinked out of existence, as if erased from the universe. Shock rippled through the Jarix ranks. "Impossible!" shouted Captain Yvel, struggling to regain control. "They are bending reality, folding space itself. No technology in the Empire can do this." On Earth, Commander Aisha Malik observed the destruction with cool detachment. "That was the first trial," she murmured to the AI. "Ready the kinetic disruptors." A soft voice answered, "All systems green, weapons primed, awaiting your command." Across the globe, humanity held its breath, watching the unfolding cosmic duel. For generations, the Galactic Empire had been the ultimate predator, devouring star systems, enslaving species, crushing resistance without mercy. Yet here, in their own backyard, Earth stood as an unyielding guardian. "Open a comm channel," Aisha ordered. Her voice was steady but firm. The AI complied, broadcasting a message across the void in the galactic standard language. "Jarix Empire, you stand at the threshold of human space. Your fleets are trespassing. Withdraw immediately or face total destruction. This is Earth. No passage allowed." Silence answered. Then, without warning, the solar gate pulsed again, this time sending out a torrent of focused gravitic pulses, tearing at the hulls of 3 Imperial cruisers attempting to retreat. Their armor groaned under the strain. Emergency. Signals blinked furiously, but no help could reach them. The Jarix fleet was trapped. "Form a defensive perimeter," Threx commanded, voice sharp as talons. "Prepare for full engagement. We will break through or die trying." Yet no matter how hard the Empire pressed, the solar gate absorbed every assault, shimmering like a living force field with no visible source. It bent space-time, reversed energy streams, and struck with precise fury. Fleets that boasted thousands of ships were reduced to scattered wreckage. Deep within the Doombreaker, tension twisted like a living thing. Generals shouted orders. Technicians scrambled to patch failures, but Earth's defense was relentless. "Commander Malik, your weapon systems are unlike anything we've encountered," reported a captured Imperial scientist, his voice trembling in the underground interrogation chamber. "Your technology, it defies the laws of physics as we understand them." Aisha studied the prisoner, eyes hard. "You think your empire is invincible, but you've forgotten one thing. Humans are not like you." Across Earth's defense net, the AI interface hummed softly. It had been designed not only for battle, but to learn, adapt, and evolve in real time. Each assault from the Empire was met with a calculated, almost artistic response. The solar gate was not just a barrier. It was a masterpiece of human ingenuity and will. Hours stretched into days. The Empire's desperation grew. Their commanders debated retreat, but the black curtain that protected Earth was a perfect trap. To turn back meant risking annihilation. To press forward meant sailing blindly into the jaws of an unseen predator. On the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx stared at the shattered remains of his fleet, a storm raging inside him. "We must find their weakness," he growled. "There has to be a flaw. There must be a way to breach the solar gate." But deep in Earth's control chamber, Aisha smiled faintly, knowing the truth. There was no weakness, only humans, and they had just begun to show the galaxy what it meant to stand unbowed. Admiral Threx stared at the war room hologram aboard the Doombreaker, frustration seeping through every mandible twitch. The Solar Gate defense net wasn't just a shield. It was a puzzle wrapped in a riddle, crafted from science the Empire had yet to decipher. "We've never seen anything like this technology," muttered Commander Evil, his compound eyes darting nervously. "Our scientists say it's as if they manipulate space itself, but how?" Threx slammed a claw on the console. "We must understand them. Find out what makes Earth so different." In the shadows beneath Earth's bustling cities, far from the prying eyes of the Empire, the truth awaited. Beneath the sprawling metropolis of New Beijing, thousands of meters underground, a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers pulsed with quiet activity. Here, humanity's brightest minds labored on projects that could have seemed impossible to alien civilizations. In one vast chamber, Dr. Lena Morales paced before a massive quantum array. Around her, a team of engineers and physicists monitored, data streaming from experimental reactors that manipulated dark matter fields and harnessed quantum phase shifts. "We're not just defending Earth," Lena explained to the gathered scientists. "We're rewriting the very fabric of reality. The Solar Gate isn't just a shield, it's a space-time distortion generator, an artificial boundary that folds the laws of physics like origami." Her words rippled through the room, met with a mixture of awe and determination. For decades, humanity had advanced in isolation, building its science and technology without the influence or interference of the galactic powers. What they lacked in numbers or warships, they made up for in ingenuity and resilience. Nearby, a holographic map of the solar system flickered to life, showing the hidden web of defense satellites, gravitic projectors, and kinetic disruptors that formed the Solar Gate defense net. The system was adaptive, constantly analyzing threats, reconfiguring itself to counter attacks, and even anticipating enemy strategies through AI-driven simulations. "What's truly remarkable," Lena continued, "is how our AI works. They're not mere tools. They're partners, sentient minds that learn and evolve. They analyze Imperial tactics and predict their moves before they happen." One of the younger scientists, Rio Tanaka, leaned forward eagerly. "So Earth's defense is a living system?" "Yes," Lena said, a proud smile touching her lips. "A living system that uses quantum computing and space-time physics as weapons. That's why the Jarix fleet has failed. Their weapons are conventional, limited by old physics. We play by new rules." Meanwhile, in the Doombreaker's captivity bay, Imperial spies and saboteurs captured during skirmishes were questioned. Few survived the experience, but those who did shared the same stunned report. Humans fought like nothing the galaxy had seen, adapting instantly, harnessing physics to their advantage and showing a fearlessness born from something deeper than technology. One prisoner, a veteran pilot named Cale Voss, spoke in whispers. "Their weapons, they don't just burn or blast. They twist your ship's very reality. Time slows, space bends, systems fail before you even realize you're under attack." Threx gritted his teeth. "How do they do it?" Kyle's eyes were haunted. "I don't know, but it's like they tap into the universe itself, an energy we don't understand." Back underground, Commander Aisha Malik listened to reports from the front lines. Despite the overwhelming force arrayed against them, Earth's defenses held firm. Yet she knew the battles were only the beginning. "We don't fight because we want to," she told her senior staff. "We fight because we must. The galaxy has been ruled by empires for too long, empires that enslave and destroy. Earth stands as a beacon. We protect not just ourselves, but every species that dreams of freedom." Her voice was calm but resolute. "Our technology is our shield, but it's our spirit that's truly unstoppable." The AI interface chimed softly beside her. "Commander, new intelligence indicates the Jarix are preparing covert operations, attempting infiltration and sabotage." Aisha nodded. "We expected as much. Let them try. Every attempt strengthens our resolve." Far above Earth, the Doombreaker prepared to launch another assault. But this time, the Empire's commanders faced a grim truth. Their enemy was unlike any they had fought before. Earth was not just a planet with weapons. It was a civilization that had evolved beyond war into mastery of the universe's deepest laws. As the Jarrek's fleet braced for the next wave, Admiral Threx found himself asking a question that chilled him more than any weapon could. The Doombreaker trembled as it hovered on the edge of the Solar Gate's influence, engines burning fiercely against the invisible tide of gravitic distortion that sought to push it back. Admiral Threx's many eyes were fixed on the viewscreen, where the swirling blue-white shimmer of the Solar Gate radiated with terrifying beauty and unyielding strength. "We've sustained heavy losses," Captain Evil reported grimly. 50 ships lost. Morale is faltering, but the commanders refuse to withdraw. Threx's mandibles clicked in frustration. "The Council will expect results. We must break their line, or suffer total humiliation." Deep within the solar system, Earth's lone planetary defense cruiser, the Sentinel, loomed like a titan, its sleek armor reflecting the sun's light. Unlike the massive Imperial warships, the Sentinel was a marvel of advanced physics, equipped with the experimental graviton collapse cannon, a weapon capable of manipulating stellar forces. Commander Aisha Malik stood on the Sentinel's bridge, her gaze steady as her crew prepared for the ultimate demonstration. "Target locked on the nearby star Helios 4, she announced. "Prepare to fire." The bridge hummed with tense energy as technicians calibrated the weapon. The graviton collapse cannon was untested in battle but promised destructive power beyond anything the galaxy had witnessed. "Firing sequence initiated," the weapons officer confirmed. A concentrated beam of collapsing gravity surged from the Sentinel, invisible to the naked eye but warping space as it raced toward the star. Seconds later, sensors registered catastrophic instability in Helios 4's core. The star's fusion processes went into rapid, uncontrollable collapse. The entire system shook as the star imploded in a dazzling burst of cosmic energy, a supernova in miniature. The Doombreaker's fleet, positioned tens of millions of kilometers away, watched in stunned silence as their sensors registered the sudden, inexplicable loss of Helios 4. Admiral Threx's compound eyes narrowed. "Is this Earth's message? They can destroy stars at will." A transmission channel crackled to life. A calm, synthesized voice, Earth's avatar, Lex, addressed the Empire. "Jarrek's Empire. This is Earth speaking. Your fleets threaten the balance of peace and freedom. Cease all aggression immediately or face complete annihilation. This is your final warning." The council chambers of the Galactic Empire erupted in debate. Some urged a full retreat, others demanded a renewed assault. But Admiral Threx knew the truth. Earth had the upper hand. "Prepare the fleet for defensive formation," he commanded. "We will not break here, but we will fight to survive." On Earth, the world held its breath as the Solar Gate pulsed again, an invisible wave sweeping across the expanse of space. Imperial ships caught in the field shuddered, their systems failing one by one as their hulls strained against impossible gravitational forces. One by one, ships fell silent, disintegrated, vanished, or lost in temporal distortions. The AI monitoring, the defense net calculated the outcomes with cold precision. The Solar Gate was no longer just a defense, it was a weapon of deterrence. Commander Malik's voice was steady as she addressed her command center. "They believe in power through conquest. We believe in power through preservation." The galaxy began to whisper. Across star systems, news of Earth's defiance spread like wildfire. The empire that once seemed unstoppable was now trembling, on the edge of collapse. Yet even as Earth stood firm, shadows moved within the empire. Agents whispered of forbidden technologies, of secret weapons capable of tearing through any defense. The struggle was far from over. Back aboard the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx stared out into the stars, the weight of command heavy upon him. "Earth has changed the rules of war," he muttered. "We either adapt or become history." For the first time in millennia, the mighty Galactic Empire faced a force it could neither conquer nor comprehend. And Earth, silent and steadfast, awaited the next move. The Doombreaker led the battered remnants of the Jarrek's fleet closer to the Solar Gate, but the atmosphere aboard the flagship had shifted. A quiet dread replaced the earlier confidence. The Empire's finest pilots and commanders exchanged uneasy glances haunted by stories whispered in the dark corners of the ship. "We're entering the Black Curtain," murmured Captain Yvel, eyes wide as he monitored the sensors. "The zone where ships lose control, systems fail, and pilots go mad." Admiral Threx's claws clenched the edge of his command console. "Explain." "The Black Curtain is a localized space-time anomaly surrounding Earth's defense perimeter. Ships report sudden sensory distortions. Time slows, stars vanish, and voices echo inside their minds. Several vessels have lost contact completely. Outside, the void itself seemed to warp. Stars blinked out as the fleet advanced, swallowed by an invisible shroud that bent reality like a funhouse mirror. The Doombreaker's instruments screamed with warnings. Navigation systems flickered between accuracy and chaos. Gravitic sensors twisted into nonsense. From the bridge, Threx watched his ships falter. The first cruiser veered off course, its captain screaming of hallucinations, visions of old wars, lost comrades, and deep regrets. Systems failed, weapons discharged randomly. The crew's sanity frayed in minutes. "Contain the panic," Threx ordered, voice steady despite his own rising fear. "We cannot let them succumb." But the Black Curtain was relentless. One by one, ships disappeared into the void. Engines flamed out, communications cut, entire crews lost without a trace. It was as if Earth's defense had reached beyond mere physical force and into the realm of the psychological, weaponizing the very minds of its enemies. On Earth, Commander Aisha Malik observed the chaos with a measured calm. "The Black Curtain is our ultimate defense," she told her council. "It's not just technology, it's a psychological barrier. We protect our home by making the invaders confront their own fears and doubts." The AI interface added softly. "The effect varies with each individual's mind. Some are paralyzed by memories. Others see illusions. Many lose themselves in endless loops of despair." Back on the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx's vision blurred as a sudden wave of vertigo swept over him, a rare but horrifying effect of the anomaly. He gritted his teeth, forcing himself to remain focused. "We will not surrender to ghosts," he growled. But even as he spoke, he realized the fight was slipping away. The Empire's disciplined ranks dissolved into chaos. Ships collided, fired on each other by mistake, or fled blindly into the starless void. Among the panic, a desperate plan emerged. The Empire's chief scientist proposed a radical solution: deploy an experimental quantum beacon designed to disrupt the Black Curtain's space-time distortions. Threx hesitated. The device was untested, and failure meant certain doom. But desperation left no choice. "Prepare the beacon," he ordered. As the quantum beacon was readied, the remaining Imperial fleet gathered for one final attempt to breach the Solar Gate's boundary. The beacon was launched, a glowing sphere of tangled energy, pulsing through the darkness. For moments, the Black Curtain faltered. The stars reappeared, the void cleared, and the fleet regained control. But then, the sphere exploded in a cascade of quantum feedback, sending ripples through space-time itself. The fleet was thrown into greater chaos. Ships flickered in and out of existence as if caught between dimensions. Communications collapsed entirely. Despair turned into terror. From the depths of the Empire's command chamber, a grim realization settled in. Earth had crafted a defense beyond attack, one that preyed on mind and matter alike. The Black Curtain was not just a barrier. It was a gauntlet of cosmic horror. Days later on the Doombreaker, only a handful of ships remained operational. Their crews were shadows of their former selves, exhausted and broken. Admiral Threx, his eyes heavy with defeat, made a solemn report to the Imperial Council. "We have been stopped, not by armies but by a force we cannot fight. Earth is impenetrable. We are trapped, and slowly unraveling." Yet amid the despair, a flicker of hope ignited far from the Solar Gate. Rebel transmissions from within the Empire's core systems reached Earth. Messages of dissent, calls for freedom, and alliances forged in secret. Humanity's silent stand had sparked a flame that would not be extinguished. and as the black curtain held fast, Earth's quiet power grew. The shattered remnants of the Jarix fleet drifted, like wounded beasts through the darkness of space. The black curtain's grip had broken their formation and shattered their will. Aboard the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx sat heavy in his command chair, his many eyes clouded with doubt. The glory of the Galactic Empire was fading before his very eyes, undone by a single world's resolve. But far beyond the front lines, in the shadowed corridors of the Empire's sprawling capital worlds, whispers were growing louder. It began as scattered murmurs, frustration among commanders, unrest in the ranks, and discontent among the oppressed populations. The crushing defeat at Earth had shattered the myth of the Empire's invincibility, and that crack was spreading fast. In a dimly lit chamber on the planet Varlock, a meeting of high-ranking officers convened. General Krell, a grizzled veteran, with a reputation for ruthless pragmatism, slammed his fist on the table. The Empire's grip weakens. We cannot continue this war blindly. Earth has shown us what we face, a force beyond conquest. Beside him, Senator Yara Voss nodded slowly. The people grow restless. The colonies question the endless wars, the sacrifices demanded in the name of an empire that no longer feels eternal. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward, an unassuming intelligence officer named Kale Voss, recently returned from captivity with Earth's forces. His eyes were hardened by truth and purpose. Earth's defiance is more than military might, he said quietly. It is a symbol, a call for freedom and change. We can no longer ignore it. Across the galaxy, secret transmissions began to pulse through hidden channels. Messages of hope, plans of resistance, alliances forming in the dark. The idea of rebellion, once unthinkable, now seemed inevitable. On Earth, Commander Aisha Malik monitored the growing unrest with cautious optimism. The Empire's cracks are spreading, she told her team. Our defense has done more than protect us, it has ignited a spark. The AI interface responded with calm analysis. Rebellion probabilities have increased by 47%. Within the last cycle, several key systems have active insurgent cells. Good, Aisha replied. Freedom grows in the shadows. Yet even as hope flourished, Earth's leaders knew the road ahead would be long and treacherous. The Galactic Empire was vast, with resources and ruthlessness that would not vanish overnight. We must prepare, Aisha said. Not just to defend, but to support those who seek liberation. Back aboard the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx received intelligence reports of uprisings on distant worlds, colonies that once bowed to the Empire now taking arms in secret. Each report was a dagger twisting in the Empire's pride. Send envoys, Threx commanded, voice tight. Demand loyalty and order. We cannot allow this to spread. But the whispers had become a roar. In the depths of space, small rebel fleets launched strikes against Imperial convoys. Planets declared their independence, rallying behind the banner of Earth's courage. The Empire was hemorrhaging control. Threx's frustration boiled. Earth has not only defeated us in battle, he growled. They have shattered our very foundation. On Earth, celebrations were muted but resolute. Across the planet, people watched the stars not just with hope but with a new understanding of their place in the cosmos. Aisha stood before a gathering of diplomats and leaders from allied systems, those few who had already pledged support. The Galactic Empire's era is ending. Together we can build a future where no species is enslaved. Her words echoed in the halls and hearts of those present. The first seeds of a new alliance were planted, nurtured by the courage of a single world that refused to bow. Yet even as alliances formed, unknown agents stirred in the shadows, those within the Empire who would stop at nothing to crush rebellion and silence Earth's influence forever. Back on the Doombreaker, as the stars outside seemed to dim under the weight of defeat, Admiral Threx realized a bitter truth. The battle for Earth was only the beginning. The real war was now, a war for the soul of the galaxy, and humanity was ready. The fires of rebellion had become a roaring inferno. Across the galaxy, once loyal systems rose against the oppressive yoke of the Galactic Empire. Starports erupted in violent clashes, Battlefields shifted from distant frontiers to the empires. Very core and fleets that once marched as a single unstoppable force now fractured into factions, fighting for survival or freedom. Aboard the Doombreaker, Admiral Threx's hands trembled as reports poured in. Imperial worlds were lost almost daily. Starships loyal to Earth's cause struck at supply lines, communications, and strategic outposts. The Empire's bureaucracy, once cold and unyielding, cracked under the weight of rebellion. "We are losing control," Threx admitted grimly, "but surrender is not an option." The Council, once confident and united, now fractured under pressure. Some argued for peace negotiations, others called for total war. But no one dared ignore the growing strength of the Earth-led coalition. Earth Commander Aisha Malik watched the unfolding revolution with careful eyes. The planet's defenses remained impenetrable, but more importantly, Earth had become the heart of a movement sweeping the stars. She convened a meeting of the Galactic Liberation Council, a coalition of freedom fighters, diplomats, and strategists from dozens of systems. "We stand at a crossroads," Aisha said, her voice steady and clear. "The Empire's grip weakens, but it still commands vast armies and technology. Our strength lies in unity, in the hope we inspire." Her words echoed through the chamber, igniting resolve. General Krell, the former Imperial officer who had defected, stood and addressed the council. "The Empire underestimates the power of an idea. We fight not just for ourselves, but for every world crushed under tyranny." The council agreed to coordinate their efforts, sharing intelligence, pooling resources, and launching joint operations to dismantle the Empire's strongholds. The war spread like wildfire. Star systems once ruled by fear now boomed with the energy of rebellion. On planets like Varlock and Neshar, insurgents toppled corrupt governors. Fleets of diverse species sailed side by side, united under the banner of freedom. Yet the Empire fought fiercely. They unleashed experimental weapons, ruthless assassins, and propaganda campaigns to fracture the growing alliance. In one such battle near the star system of Orin, a coalition fleet commanded by Aisha herself faced off against the Empire's elite Black Talon squadron. The clash was brutal. Ships danced through explosions and plasma fire, weaving intricate tactics and sacrifices. Amid the chaos, Aisha's command ship endured a direct hit that knocked out critical systems. With calm precision, Aisha rallied her crew. "Damage control teams, prioritize weapons and shields. We cannot lose this battle." The Black Talons pressed their advantage, but the coalition fought back with fierce determination. In a stunning maneuver, Allied cruisers launched coordinated strikes, forcing the Empire to retreat. Victory was hard-won, but it was a beacon, proof that the Empire's reign was not invincible. Meanwhile, Admiral Threx, isolated aboard the Doombreaker, struggled to hold his fractured command. He realized that the old strategies no longer applied. "The galaxy has changed," he confessed to his senior officers. "Our enemies are united by something we cannot break: hope." In a desperate gambit, Threx authorized a covert operation, a strike team tasked with infiltrating Earth's underground quantum labs. If the Empire could cripple the Solar Gate's core technology, they might turn the tide. But Earth's intelligence was not idle. The AI defenses detected the infiltration attempt early, and special forces intercepted the operatives in the shadowed tunnels beneath New Beijing. The confrontation was swift and brutal. Earth's defenders, trained in both warfare and quantum tactics, overwhelmed the invaders. Captured Imperial agents spoke of desperation and fear. The Empire was on its last legs, willing to sacrifice anything to halt the rising tide of revolution. As the rebellion swelled, the galaxy itself seemed to pulse with renewed life. On the front lines, soldiers from countless species fought side by side, their differences forgotten in the crucible of war. Children born under occupation dared to dream of freedom. Scientists shared knowledge freely. Artists composed songs of hope and defiance. Earth's silent stand had ignited a revolution that would change everything. Back on the Doombreaker, as the last embers of the Empire flickered, Admiral Threx looked out at the stars and whispered, This is not the end, but a new beginning. And across the galaxy, the tides of revolution rolled on, unstoppable, unyielding, and destined to reshape the universe forever. The final battle for the heart of the Galactic Empire had begun. Amid the ruins of the once mighty capital world of Valenthar, fleets converged, coalition ships from Earth and countless allied systems facing the last desperate forces loyal to the old regime. The skies were alive with fire and fury, stars eclipsed by the smoke of war. Commander Aisha Malik stood on the bridge of the flagship Luminary, her eyes fixed on the sprawling battlefield. Years of sacrifice, loss, and hope had led to this moment. The galaxy held its breath. "Today we fight not just to end an empire," she declared over the comms, her voice carrying across the fleet. "We fight to build a future where freedom is not a dream, but a reality for every species, every world." Her words ignited the hearts of those who heard them. The coalition's diverse crews, bound by common purpose, surged forward. Admiral Threx, now a shadow of the proud leader he once was, commanded the last bastion of Imperial resistance from the battered flagship Doombreaker. His compound eyes reflected the burning sky, haunted yet unbroken. "We were born to rule the stars," he whispered. "But maybe the stars belong to all now." With grim determination, he ordered his fleet into formation, preparing to make their final stand. The battle was fierce and unforgiving. Energy blasts tore through space, fleets twisted in deadly maneuvers, and heroes emerged from both sides. The Luminary exchanged fire with the Doombreaker, each strike echoing with the weight of history. Amid the chaos, Earth's quantum defense systems extended their reach, neutralizing Imperial weaponry and turning the tide. The Black Curtain's mysterious powers had been adapted to protect the Coalition fleet, providing a shield of hope amid the storm. In the heat of battle, Aisha led a daring boarding operation against the Doombreaker. Her team breached the flagship's hull, fighting through desperate Imperial soldiers to confront Threx. The two leaders met in the command chamber, a tense silence between them. "You fight well," Threx admitted, voice heavy. "Perhaps too well." Aisha met his gaze without fear. "We fight for freedom, not domination. It's a new era." Threx hesitated, then nodded. "Then may your era bring peace." With the fall of the Doombreaker, the Imperial command shattered. The last pockets of resistance surrendered or fled into the unknown reaches of space. The Galactic Empire was no more. In the days that followed, a new council was formed, a coalition of species united not by conquest, but by cooperation and mutual respect. Earth, honored as the catalyst of change, took its place as a guardian and guide, not a ruler. Commander Aisha Malik addressed the assembly. "We have seen the cost of tyranny and the power of unity. Together, we will build a galaxy where all can thrive." The Solar Gate defense net was transformed from a shield of war into a beacon of peace, opening safe passageways for trade, exploration, and cultural exchange. Technology once used for destruction was repurposed for creation. Scientists shared discoveries freely. Artists wove stories of the struggle and hope that had brought the galaxy together. And on Earth, beneath the vast blue skies, people looked up at the stars with a new understanding. They were no longer isolated. They were part of something greater. Galaxy Reborn Admiral Threx, now a prisoner of war, stood before the new council. Instead of condemnation, he was met with a chance for redemption. "You were a worthy adversary," Aisha told him. "Now help us build the future." He bowed his head, the weight of his past and the hope for tomorrow blending in silent promise. The galaxy, once ruled by fear and steel, had been reshaped by courage and conviction. Humanity had not only defended its home but had ignited a revolution that changed the fate of countless worlds. The stars shone brighter than ever before. A new dawn had arrived. The end